Alright guys, welcome back. Let's what happening between our borders in county and countries.
Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, I will not delve into all the specific clauses since the mover of the bill, the Honorable Kwenya, has already done that. And on behalf of the Sports Committee and members of the Mediation Committee, Honorable Speaker, allow me first to thank all the members of this House who have sat in that Mediation Committee and those from the other House in the Senate, because it was a painstaking process to be able to agree on many contentious issues, Honorable Speaker, to make sure that we have a Gambling Control Act if this bill is passed today and becomes an act of Parliament, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this bill, when it came to this House, we sent it to the Senate because there were certain provisions attached on county governments, Honorable Speaker.
In case you are watching this channel for the first time, please click that subscribe buttons, then allow the notification buttons to be on. And for the subscribers, I really thank you and appreciate for your support.
Because the gambling or betting control, Honorable Speaker, is a shared function between the national government and our county governments. And therefore, in line with the fourth schedule of our constitution, we had to send this bill to the Senate. They amended quite a number of clauses, some that touched on money bill effect, or some clauses that made the bill to have the money bill, some clauses that had a money bill effect. And when they came, we rejected them, and those are some of the issues that occasioned the mediation process. I'm glad that the mediation committee between the two houses was able to agree and removed all the clauses that touched on taxation and anything that had the money bill effect, which in line with our constitution and our own standing orders and those of the Senate, anything that has a money bill effect, in line with Article 114 of our constitution, can only be done by the National Assembly and not the Senate. And I must thank the mediation committee, because when they were able to sit together, they were able to agree and remove all the clauses that touched on money bill and those that touched on taxation. And I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, that many of those issues, again, were addressed during the finance bill debate, and we were able to enact many of the provisions that would otherwise have been carried in this bill that had tax measures in the finance bill, which is now the Finance Act of 2025, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are also amendments, especially to clause 79, was it 76 or 79 and 74, Honorable Speaker? I will get it shortly, that touch on certain statutory provisions. Honorable Speaker, provisions under clause 79, 82A, and clause 40 and 29 that were being amended by this bill. And Honorable Speaker, some of the provisions touch on statutory provisions that the Senate again had sought to exclude certain companies, especially those that are engaged in online gambling, from statutory provisions. Statutory provisions, Honorable Speaker, some that require that any person who is engaged in gambling business must be domiciled in Kenya, must have a bank account in Kenya under the purview of the Central Bank of Kenya, must deposit security bonds or bank guarantees or an insurance bond to be able to safeguard the interests of the people who are gambling, Honorable Speaker. And some of the measures that Senate had taken was to remove some of those statutory provisions, Honorable Speaker. And I'm happy that during mediation they were able to agree and only allowed the exemption of clause 29A on the question of licensing for those who are engaging in the business of online gambling, to allow them not to necessarily have local shareholding, because the exemption was to allow, or rather the law required that any person who is licensed to offer gambling or betting activity under the Act, that person must be a body corporate in which a minimum of 30% of shares under this Act are either it must be a body corporate in which a minimum of 30% of the shares are held by Kenyan citizens, Honorable Speaker. And I'm happy, Honorable Speaker, that that particular provision, the mediation committee was able to agree that if you engage in online business, you do not necessarily need to have shareholding, local shareholding, as was required under the Act. And that is the only exemption that the mediation committee has agreed on. Otherwise, Honorable Speaker, the other measures that the Senate had put in exempting people who are doing online gambling from the statutory provisions of having security bonds, bank guarantees, insurance security bonds, those have now been restated. Because, Honorable Speaker, those things are not just there for the sake of having them there. They are there to protect the public. Because it's very easy, Honorable Speaker, for someone doing business online to collect money from Kenyans under the pretext of gambling or betting, then end up paying nothing and walk away with their money. And therefore, it is important that anybody who is licensed is required to deposit a security guarantee, a bank guarantee or an insurance bond that will ensure if you incur any liabilities, the people of Kenya, the betting public, are protected against such liabilities, Honorable Speaker. And I must thank the committee that they were able to agree on some of those otherwise very offensive provisions. And Honorable Speaker, at the time they were in mediation, members will remember the issue that was raised in the country of online gambling and the danger that gambling and betting is taking especially our young people through. And those like Honorable Kahangara and Honorable Tongoyo, who sit in the Security Committee, will tell you that whatever measures BCLB or the Betting and Licensing Control Board is doing are not adequate. And therefore, unless and until we have an operational act of parliament that will ensure that we also discourage our youth from engaging in irresponsible betting and gambling, Honorable Speaker, we risk making our young people believe that you can be rich by engaging in gambling and betting without engaging in any productive economic activity, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, those of us who confess the Islam faith will bear me witness that even in their faith, they don't believe in gambling because they believe in hard work. And even in the Christian faith, those of us who are Christians, we believe in people working and earning a living out of productive economic activities, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, we must have laws like this that discourage irresponsible gambling. It is okay to gamble and bet as a pastime, but it cannot be, Honorable Speaker, that every day of your life, all you do is to gamble and bet. It cannot be usual, Honorable Speaker, that many radio stations and TV stations, Honorable Speaker, were free to encourage the public to bet from as early as 5 a.m. There are radio stations that were running programs encouraging Kenyans to bet and gamble. We have seen young children, college students, commit suicide because of betting. They have gambled their money away, their school fees. Some gamble their subsistence allowance from their parents and from the Higher Education Loans Board, and they end up destitute, slip into depression, and end up, Honorable Speaker, some committing suicide. It is these young ones that we must protect. And this particular law will play a critical role in protecting the young people in our country against those who are encouraging them to engage in irresponsible betting and gambling. It will play a critical role in ensuring that our media houses do not irresponsibly encourage people to get into irresponsible gambling by making them believe that you'll become billionaires and millionaires overnight by simply punching numbers on your phone. Because you've seen many of them telling them, you just need to punch numbers and become bonyeza, kanya kanya, finya finya, and you become a billionaire from gambling. Honorable Speaker, we want to encourage our young people to work We want to encourage them to become innovative and use their intellect to engage in economic activities that will earn them a living, Honorable Speaker. And the many programs that are being rolled out, from the affordable housing program, Honorable Speaker, to the digital economy jobs, Honorable Speaker, to the Kazi Maju programs, Honorable Speaker, are opportunities where young people can engage in productive economic activities rather than encourage them to get into irresponsible gambling, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I want to agree with the mover and the proposers of this bill, those who mediated this bill, Honorable Speaker, that this bill, when it becomes an act of parliament, it will provide us with a very good legal framework on the regulation and control of gambling activities in the country. And it will expressly provide for gambling activities that shall be legal in Kenya while prohibiting illegal forms of gambling, Honorable Speaker. Because as I said, there are all manner of gambling, Honorable Speaker. Those that are doing on radio, those that are doing on TV, those that are doing online, some that are domiciled in this country, others that are domiciled outside the country. This bill will be able to tell us what is legally authorized in Kenya, Honorable Speaker. You remember the time there was that debate 2 months or 3 months ago. BCLB told us that they had banned, I think, 330 companies that were engaged in illegal gambling activities, Honorable Speaker. Because it's also not clear, even to authorities in our county governments and law enforcers, which gambling activity is licensed. This bill now makes it clear what gambling activities will be licensed in Kenya. It will also promote and develop a responsible gambling industry in Kenya, Honorable Speaker. Because as I said, this industry is an industry like any other. Like the beer industry, like the cigarette industry. And as harmful as it can be, if done responsibly, it is an industry that can also generate resources for our country and create jobs. And we have many gambling companies that are engaged in responsible gambling that have created jobs for Kenyans in this country, and especially young Kenyans who are very innovative in the tech sector. Many of them are employed as app developers in these online gambling companies, and they're also providing money to the exchequer, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, we want to ensure that we develop that responsible gambling industry in the country, as we minimize on the social harm that irresponsible gambling can afflict in our society, Honorable Speaker. This bill will also ensure that there is integrity in the conduct of licensed gambling activities and provide for the establishment of mechanisms for the resolution of disputes relating to gambling, because there are many disputes, as I said. Part of the reason why this House was opposed to lifting or to the establishment of exemptions to certain statutory provisions is because some are inbuilt in our laws to ensure that if there are disputes, for instance, between a gambling company and those who are gambling, there is a security guarantee or a bank guarantee or an insurance bond that safeguards the money of those who are engaged in this business. Just like those who engage in the insurance business, Honorable Speaker, have to have a deposit, a security bond guarantee or a bank guarantee to ensure that and those who underwrite insurance covers for them are compensated should that company come down. Those who are in the banking industry, the same. Therefore, because this is also a very fluid industry in terms of liquidity, we must ensure that if you take money from members of the public, you have also deposited a bank guarantee or insurance bond that will secure the interests of the public, Honorable Speaker. Because had we not done that, Honorable Speaker, and fallen to the temptation of what had been done in the Senate, then we would be leaders who are encouraging a very irresponsible culture in our country, one where you can come collect money from Kenyans, and after 2 days you close down, raise money online from Kenyans through pretentious gambling and betting activities, and close shop and take off with people's money. It will now not be possible to do that with this law in the mediated format that is in. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to plead with members to support this mediated version. Is a product of a give and take between us and the Senate, and we have made sure that we have a law that now protects the public and encourages responsible gambling and betting in our country, while also protecting the resources that we're able to raise nationally in terms of revenue from taxation of the companies that are engaged in gambling, even as we discourage the illegal gambling and irresponsible betting and gambling that we have seen in the past. And therefore beg to second and urge members to support this bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. I therefore propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Article 113(2) of the Constitution and Standing Order 153, this House adopts the report of the Mediation Committee on the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 70 of 2023, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 1st July 2025, and approves the mediated version of the Gambling Control Bill, National Assembly number 70 of 2023.